That is the artist formerly known as Sheldon Tarsha, Sean Nichols, who is currently in Westfield Massacre.
That's right.
And that is Second Life.
Dude, that song, and really, every song Sheldon did as Tarsha fucking rocks.
Yeah, he definitely had his finger on the pulse of what was going on at that time. Mm-hmm. And he definitely was on the cutting edge when Second Life was really cropping up and becoming very popular.
Yeah.
Because I think that song came out like 8 years ago, right?
Long time. Yeah, that was on, what, Divine Universe?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a million years ago. I think it's more like 10, 12 years ago now, isn't it?
It's been a while.
You know, I mean, it's.
I can't remember if it was before or came out after your sabbatical from the show.
I think it was before. I I left the show.
Okay, so that's been 9 years.
Yeah. Whew. We are getting old really fast.
Yeah, really fast.
Isn't it funny? We talk about these things, and I mean, they still seem like they were just recently.
Yeah, I know. I got a tweet from one of our fans, and sends me over this remake of Tom Cochran's song "Life is a Highway."
Oh yeah,
and it's "Life is a Highway" 2018, kind of doing the same thing that Aldanova did.
Sure.
And I look, and it's like the original came out in 91. And I'm thinking, it's like 27 years ago.
Dude, you remember when we thought that 25 years ago was old?
Yeah.
Like when when we were kids and we thought about the Beatles. That was like music that was so fucking old.
Yeah.
And it was the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Dude, it was the same amount of time as it was less time than when we discovered Motley Crue or Dokken or, all of those bands that we grew up with. Judas Priest or whatever. Fuck. When you hear that these bands are 50, they've been doing the Scorpions and Black Sabbath and whatnot, having their 50-year shows.
Yeah, Rolling Stones or Who or Chicago or, any one of them.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me how old we've gotten.
Yeah.
Hate this.
Yeah, you and me both.
We're on the fast track to death.
No kidding.
Oh well. Who redid that song? Life is a Highway.
Tom Cochran.
Oh, let me hear. I got to hear the remake. Is it any good or is it awful?
No, it sounds just like the original to me. I mean, sounded the same, but you be the judge.
He didn't sound terrible. He wasn't like Life is a Highway.
No, not at all.
All right, good.
I mean, it sounded just. I don't understand the reason for the remake or the 2018 version or whatever you want to call it, but
you got to get that licensing back for
I guess.
I would think. You know what though? I would think with that song, I would think that's probably a smart one to get the fucking rights back to. Because that's the kind of song that fucking movies would use. That's the cheeseball, going down memory lane. Or
right, of course.
We're getting older. We could play this song as the guy drives down the road and gets older or some shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, here it is. This is Tom Cochran, Life is a Highway 2018 version.
Okay.
I don't know that you'll see much of a difference, but okay.
Let's hear it.
Travel on when there's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. It's a world I
It's just a cheaper version.
Yeah.
You know. The best Tom Cochrane song is Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah, of course. Red Rider.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I agree with. I haven't heard that song in forever. Give me a little of that. Can you give me a little of that?
Little Lunatic Fringe.
Haven't heard that in forever.
That's a good tune. I like that song.
Yeah. Lunatic, nothing. No.
Yeah. But I like the dark, ominous guitar work at the very beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Can I express my ignorance that until this moment I never realized that Tom Cochrane was from Red Rider? I did not know that.
Okay. Well, that's that was his big signature hit.
Yeah, Life is a Highway. I don't know. It just sounded like a cheap version. It had cheap drums.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't have the big studio money to record it now.
Let's see here, Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah, I always loved that tune.
Yeah, I always did too. It's just that guitar. It's just kind of like starts off slow and then starts picking up speed.
Yeah, did you find it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, then here. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to play the whole song, and then we'll come back and finish.
Okay.
Because I just love this fucking tune. I want to hear the song.
All right, let's hear it.
I want to hear half.
Here we go.
All right.
you go. It's Red Rider right here on the Classic Metal Show with Lunatic Fringe, and I can kind of understand how that somebody in the chat room there said, I thought this was Golden Earring.
Yeah, it does sound like them a lot.
Kind of like a Twilight Zone type thing.
It did. Did you like Golden Earring?
I don't know anything about their music. All I know is the Twilight Zone song and Radar Love.
Yeah, that's. I had friends that were so into them. Same friends that were into like Blue Oyster Cult, which I also see referenced in the chat room. It's just like Golden Earring never did it for me.
Yeah,
I didn't even like the Twilight Zone, really. Did you like that song or no?
When the bullet hits the bone.
Yeah. I always found that song to be a little cheesy.
Yeah, it was cheesy, but it was a radio staple. I never really explored them at all.
Yeah.
I do have the Red Rider CD by, the actual CD. I did buy that.
Is the rest of it good?
It's similar to that. I mean, the way that I look at Red Rider with that disc and that Lunatic Fringe, they were kind of a one and done band.
Yeah, wasn't that song on like Vision Quest or something?
I don't think it was on Vision Quest. But that Linda Ferrantino, she was pretty hot in that movie, though.
Oh yeah, Lunatic Fringe.
And then to see that what's that kid's name? He's on Stranger Things. He's the doctor on there.
It was on Vision Quest.
Oh, was it?
Yep. Sure was.
Yeah, he was working out to that song.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Matthew?
Not Matthew McConaughey.
No.
Matthew. Fuck. I can't remember.
Matthew something. He got to bang Linda Ferrantino.
Matthew Broderick? Matthew Bodine. It's Matthew Bodine. I'm looking at his picture. It's Matthew Bodine.
Yep.
Dude, that soundtrack kicked ass.
It was pretty good. It had Journey on it.
Journey, Only the Young, Hungry for Heaven from Dio, I'll Fall in Love Again from Sammy Hagar, Hot Blooded by Foreigner. And it's a good version. It's like an alternate version of the recording of Hot Blooded.
Right.
Has like different words in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because they probably licensed that one and got full credit for that one.
Something. Harden My Heart by Quarter Flash.
Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure right there.
Like them. Time for Me to Fly, REO Speedwagon. Gambler by Madonna. Crazy for You by Madonna, which was a huge fucking hit. Lunatic Fringe, of course. The Four Seasons in Summer. That's some fucking bullshit. Change by John Waite. That was John Waite's first hit outside the Babies, I believe. Wasn't it Change?
I think so.
No More Words by Berlin. Shout to the Top. I don't remember this. By the Style Council. And She's on the Zoom by Don Henley.
Okay.
That's a pretty fucking good record.
Yeah, that's a solid soundtrack.
Dude, I wrote about this. I was reading my own Judas Priest book today. And I talked a little bit about there's a song on the Priest album that was on Turbo that was supposed to be on a soundtrack, but the band balked at it because allegedly they didn't know who Tom Cruise was, and they thought that it wouldn't have much help being in a little movie known as Top Gun. So they balked on it, and instead as the story goes, they passed on that, and then when Top Gun was huge, they took the next movie that came at them.
What, Johnny Be Good?
Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael Hall.
Right, of course.
And they were like, well, Anthony Michael Hall's going to be big.
Yeah, because he was in Breakfast Club and 16 Candles.
So they passed on a Tom Cruise movie for an Anthony Michael Hall movie.
Nice.
For Johnny Be Good, and that, of course, was a total flop.
Yeah.
But I was writing, and I was reading in my own book about this, and see if you remember this, dude. In the I believe those mid 80s was probably the biggest time ever for soundtracks.
Yeah, absolutely. The 80s was, in my mind, even though the 70s was huge with, iconic music,
mm-hmm.
the 80s was the pinnacle of what you want to call the music craze.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely was. But the soundtrack, having a song on a soundtrack back in those mid 80s, like 83 to about 90, right in that range, that could make or break a band.
Yeah, well, Last Action Hero soundtrack was absolutely fantastic.
Sure it was. Yeah, it didn't have a Cotton Fields on it.
It had Tesla on it, and Queensryche was on it. And even Point Break was a good soundtrack.
Didn't Last Action Hero have Last Time in Paris?
Yes.
That was Ford Fairlane, wasn't it?
Yes.
But Ford Fairlane was another good soundtrack. Shit movie, great soundtrack. Had some Motley Crue songs on it. Had Last Time in Paris was strange. What a great tune that is, too. But yeah, dude, it's really kind of odd how a lot of bands really propelled themselves by having songs on soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like even this track that we heard, this album that we listed here, Crazy for You, I would argue Crazy for You by Madonna was bigger than the movie. That song was everywhere. You remember that? You know that song?
I do know that song. That's probably one of my favorite. If I have a favorite Madonna song, which really isn't something that I listen to, but if I could say that I have a favorite Madonna song, that would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree with me that it was bigger than the movie itself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Lunatic Fringe was a huge, huge hit at that time. I remember that song being giant.
Well, it still gets played today.
Yeah, and Change by John Waite. That was his first move outside of the Babies, and here he is, on this soundtrack. And Change was a big song for him. No More Words was... You remember that one by Berlin?
Yeah, I do.
I believe that's their biggest hit. These songs were giant. I'll Fall in Love Again from Hagar was a big tune. Hungry for Heaven from Dio was a big tune. These were Only the Young. Didn't that come out? That's like in between. And then it ended up on what album?
Raised on Radio. Raised on Radio.
But wasn't that was released? Does this have the date of the soundtrack? Because I believe this came out in 85 and Raised on Radio came out in 86. So this was kind of the holdover between Frontiers in 83. The only new Journey song that we got, Journey was gigantic at that point. And the only new Journey song we had was Only the Young from Vision Quest. Yeah. And then it came out again later on Raised on Radio. But yeah, just soundtracks were a huge, huge deal back in those, and even Breakfast Club and all that shit. They all had. Remember St. Elmo's Fire?
Of course,
had a huge soundtrack.
Yeah, John Waite, or not John Waite, but John Parr.
Yeah, John Parr. Naughty, naughty.
Yeah.
Down and dirty.
Touch and squeeze me.
Tease me. Another guy that never saw the light of day again, did he?
No.
There were a lot of those in those days, too. Oof. Yeah, but I would argue that everybody that had a significant career that blossomed in the 80s was on these soundtracks.
Well, what helped that, obviously, is something we've covered here on the show many times, is MTV.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, without MTV, a lot of these hits that we know today would have never been hits.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And it was unique, and I think MTV helped it greatly, helped the movies, because I think the movies saw this as a way to promote their movie. Because one of these songs had like half of the video was clips from the movie.
Well, Dream Warriors.
Yeah, Dream Warriors, another one.
I mean, that featured a majority of clips from, Dream Warriors 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all of those videos were just it was like a 4-minute commercial for the movie. And if you had a big enough name on it, like a Madonna or Dio or whoever, then MTV would play it 8 billion times. Crazy for You must have played. Do you think that Crazy for You played on MTV 300,000 times that year?
Yeah, easily.
I mean, it was on every fucking hour. It was a huge, I would argue it was probably Madonna's biggest hit of that era. I mean, she had a lot of hits, but that song, they played the shit out of that song. And it was everybody's high school prom song that year and everything else. You know, Footloose, good one, Nathan. That was another big one.
Yeah,
Footloose
that was a huge soundtrack. That I was working in the music store when that came out, and that was big.
Yeah, that was big, and I like that album too. I know it's cheeseball now, but I liked songs like "Let's Hear It for the Boy" and stuff. Another one, Denise Williams. Where'd she go? She never had another hit, did she?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's amazing. All these bands, and I mean that was a huge, huge song. Footloose, Kenny Loggins, my good buddy Kenny. He had Footloose. That was a good song. Dude, even bad movies had fucking good soundtracks. Remember, what was the arm wrestling movie?
Oh, Straight to the Top or something like that?
What was that?
Oh, Over the Top.
Over the Top. I got to look up that soundtrack.
That was Sammy Hagar.
Yeah. It had like a bunch of Sammy Hagar was like soundtrack king. Because he was on a bunch of those things. He obviously had the song on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he was in Vision Quest, and he was on this soundtrack. He was all over it. Let's see, soundtracks. This soundtrack has a Robin Zander song, Frank Stallone, Asia, Big Trouble. I don't remember Big Trouble, do you?
I do. I do. They were a one and done.
Are they? Was this the one? All I Need Is You?
That was pretty much it.
Eddie Money checked in with I Will Be Strong. Kenny Loggins again with Meet Me Halfway. Larry Green with Mind Over Matter. Do you know who Larry Green is?
No idea.
All right. Winner Takes It All, Sammy Hagar.
There you go.
Take It Higher, Larry Green again. And The Fight by Giorgio Moroder. So that's not as good of a soundtrack, but still not bad. You know, you had Asia and Sammy Hagar and Eddie Money and Robin Zander and Kenny Loggins. And that Kenny Loggins song was pretty big too, wasn't it? Meet Me Halfway? Meet me halfway across the sky. Something, 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 something. I don't remember any of the words, but I remember it was a popular song, I think. Too funny. I miss MTV.
It did play a huge part in pop culture and music.
See, what I find interesting, and tell me I'm wrong on this, I can't see you watching that much MTV because they played so much music that I can't imagine that you would sit through.
Well, it was more like a background soundtrack for me because I would leave the TV on,
right,
and have it on MTV. And if there was if I was doing something like around the house or whatever, then I heard a song that I wanted to hear or see.
Right.
Then I would stop what I was doing and go watch that. And then if it would go off into something else, then I would go back to doing what I was doing, you know.
See, I was glued to the TV guy. If I turned on MTV, I was watching.
Yeah.
But again, I always had that very wide taste in music. But, dude, I was such an MTV junkie. I can remember that was a grounding that I used to get when I was a kid, was that I would be grounded from watching MTV. Because that was, being grounded from MTV for me was the equivalent of today's kid being grounded from their Xbox. You know, that was just like, no, you can take anything else but not my MTV. You know, and, dude, you remember on Saturday nights on MTV when they would have the concerts? You know, and they would first run concerts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Dude, I used to stay up every fucking Saturday to watch that shit. You know, and and it would be like AC/DC or Eddie Money or... do you remember... Dude, this is going to show how fucking old and what a retard I am. Do you remember Asia in Asia?
I do.
And you had to stay up to watch it till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Because it was on in Asia. So it was on their clock. But so it was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I remember I had to set an alarm clock to watch it because I was a big Asia fan. And I know that's kind of gay, but I don't know. Did you like Asia or no?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I was in high school, I had a couple of friends who were musicians. And the first Asia album came out in 82.
Right.
With, what was it?
Heat of the Moment.
The Heat of the Moment.
Yeah.
And they were working that song up as part of their set because, they were out there playing it. And that was my first exposure to it.
Okay.
But the reason why these guys liked it so much is because it featured, members from Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Right.
And Emerson, Lake and Palmer was like one of those cult following type bands.
Yeah.
So that was why they really dug that a lot.
Yeah. See, and the funny thing is, I hate Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but I will listen to the first two Asia albums, Asia and Asia Alpha, and the first song on Astra, Go. I think it's Astra. The first song, and then after that, I don't like any of it. But first album, every song is great in my eyes. Every single song, Soul Survivor, Only Time Will Tell, Here Comes the Feeling, Wildest Dreams.
That was a huge album for them.
Yeah, it was. I just looked it up on Wiki. Number 1 in the U.S. It spent 9 weeks at the top of Billboard. It was certified 4 times platinum. Yeah, it was a big album. Dude, every one of these songs was a hit, wasn't it? Let's see. Heat of the Moment was definitely a hit. Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, here. Where's the singles? It doesn't show the singles. It's fucking shit. Wikipedia stinks. Heat of the Moment was a single, right? For sure.
It was.
Only Time Will Tell was a big hit.
I think so.
Only Time Will Tell. You know that song. We're leaving now.
Yeah, of course.
In your eyes. That was obviously a hit. Soul Survivor was a hit. I am a soul survivor. That was a hit. Wildest Dreams was a moderate hit. And Here Comes the Feeling was a moderate hit. So that's 5 of 9. Yeah, that album was giant. And then the other one, the second album had what was the second album's hit? Don't Cry and The Smile Has Left Your Eyes. Yeah. Those two were big hits too. I loved me some Asia, man. That was good shit in my early youth. That was good shit.
When did that first one come out? I think it was 82, right?
Yeah, 82.
Yeah.
And boy, they didn't waste any time on capitalizing here. That album was released, the debut, March of 82, March 18th of 82. The Alpha, the follow-up, July 26th of 83.
Well, it was a little over a year.
They toured, and the fucking record company said, get your asses back in the studio now.
Well, but the thing is that back in that day, any real working band, they put out an album a year.
Yeah. Yeah, because then the next one came out in 85, like a year and a half later, because they probably toured big on the second album. It's probably where they had enough money to do the big tour. But that album wasn't very good.
Yeah, but any big touring act back in that day, if they went more than 2 years without a new record, that was bizarre.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm going to go back to one of my favorite earliest influences, like Chicago.
Yeah.
They churned out an album every single year.
Yeah, for like 35 years.
Yeah. I mean, every year there was a brand new Chicago album.
And most of them were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Chicago. They didn't have a clunker until they were like 17 albums in.
Pretty much.
I mean, I
Chicago 14 was a clunker.
What was this? What was the big song on that one?
Thunder and Lightning.
Oh yeah, I don't even know that.
Yeah,
so.
it was when their popularity was really on the down low, on the the downward trend.
Right.
And then the next one was the Greatest Hits 2.
Okay.
And then they came out with 16 when they hooked up with David Foster, and they launched Chicago 16, which launched them back into popularity.
That's like Love Me Tomorrow and stuff like that.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
but MTV helped that because they had videos for that, and that of course launched them into a whole new era of the band, because they kind of of course Terry Kath had passed away by then,
right?
And then they went more pop. They were less of a a rock band driven by horns and turned into more synthesizer pop band.
Yeah.
That was
Although
more.
I have to say, the medley of Hard to Say I'm Sorry and whatever that second half is called,
Getaway
is awesome with the horns at the end of it. That's like awesome. You know, that's probably my favorite Chicago
Well,
song.
that wraps up the album right there. It's called Hard to Say I'm Sorry, Getaway.
Yeah, so good. That's really, really good. But then they followed that with that shitbag album after it.
But that shitbag album, 17, that you're referring to,
Garbage.
Regardless of your thoughts, that was their biggest selling album of all time.
Care. It still stinks.
Well, it was all synth pop.
Yeah, just garbage. And the hits were, but I'm looking at it right now, and it did have hits.
Yeah, it had a lot of hits, but MTV drove that.
Yeah, it did have, 4 hits?
At least.
A Hard Habit to Break, Stay the Night, You're the Inspiration, and Along Comes a Woman.
Right.
I don't know Along Comes a Woman. How's that go?
It's very poppy.
Give me a little of that.
Let's go with a little Along Comes a Woman.
Let me hear some. I don't recognize. I mean, I know Hard Habit to Break, which I hate. And Stay the Night, I think, is the worst song in the entire Chicago catalog. That song sucks. Do you like that song?
Well, it was an MTV hit because of the video, because they had a lot of stunts in the video.
Yeah.
And both Peter Cetera and Robert Lamb's quote-unquote significant others, who were twin sisters, were in the video. Diane Neely, she was a model, and she was the one driving the 442 Oldsmobile 442 in this video.
Mm-hmm. Look at time in the chat room. I'm turning gay because I like Asia and Hall & Oates. You're damn right I do.
I like
Sorry,
Hall &
I
Oates.
get to hold my metal card like you, badass.
I like Hall & Oates.
Sorry, I can't keep my metal card because I'm not as rugged as you. Fuck you. I also fucking listen to Cannibal.
Which Chris Aiken will disagree with.
No, I definitely disagree with that.
I don't want to talk to you. Just shut up.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you at all.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember that song, and I hate it just as much now as then. But Stay the Night, to me, is the worst. Just bad, man. Stay the night. Just a begging, pleading pile of shit.
Well, it was more about the video, I think. I don't think it's so much about the song itself, but if you saw the video...
I did. They should have put a fucking truckload of these fucking tapes into the trunk and blown it up with the car. It was terrible.
Well, that was the lead hit track from that CD.
And you know what I remember most about the video? Peter Cetera's big fucking teeth. Like, they kept showing these shots of him, and they were taken, like, above his head, like, in the car, like he's driving the car, and he's, like, the shots from over him, and he's looking up and smiling, and you just see his big old fucking teeth. Looks like Sarah Jessica Parker could borrow them. Big old horse teeth.
Well, again, it was a very, very action-packed video.
Yeah, it was.
And for that time, that was kind of a big deal. And you gotta think that album came out in '84, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the band, which was formed in 1967, was already almost 20 years old.
Right.
And they were having MTV hits with videos.
Yeah.
You know, so these guys were close to 40 years old already and still appealing to the MTV crowd.
Right.
You know, I saw them at Richfield Coliseum on that tour.
Okay.
And it was a very, very choreographed production.
Right.
It was kind of funny. And I remember the article. I think I even have an article from the Cleveland Plain Dealer of the review of the show.
Right.
Well, it was an extremely choreographed thing because it was during the MTV era.
Right.
So all of them were dressed in like white jumpsuits.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, again, and so I remember the reviewer talking about the show at the Richfield Coliseum, which was a big show.
Sure.
And I remember him referring to them as they looked like the men from Glad. Remember that the commercial?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
The Glad trash bags.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They looked like the Glad trash man dressed in white jumpsuits.
Funny. And see, look at this. Somebody put the picture of Peter Cetera with those big fucking teeth. You see that?
Yeah. That chick driving the car, that was his wife at the time. That's Diane Neely.
She's begging him not to bite her with those big fucking choppers.
Yeah, that's it.
That shit looks like you could use it on Halloween to play a vampire.
Yeah. Well,
big fucking teeth.
Yeah, she was a model. But
right.
But Cetera and keyboardist Robert Lamb were married to sisters.
Yeah. When did they get divorced?
Oh,
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, you'd have to look that up. I couldn't tell you.
When did she start living off the money he earned? Because, you know, she's a multimillionaire for doing nothing but sucking his dick 100 times.
Of course.
You know. What else did she do? Oh, that's right, this video. Please.
Yeah. So he lives out, like, in the middle of Montana somewhere now.
Mm-hmm. Does he tour?
Yeah, oh yeah. He was, like, on hiatus for, like, forever.
Yeah.
But last year or into this year, he was doing some shows.
Right. Did he get back into it because of the like Hall of Fame or something?
No, he wouldn't participate in the Hall of Fame thing.
Right. Remember, he wouldn't participate, but I wondered if that was...
I don't think so. I just think it was just like, you know, I want to go out in there and do something.
And he's bored.
Pretty much.
I figured he could make a fat check going to the casinos. Honestly, I mean, he would... Dude, I could totally see Peter Cetera hitting like the Roxino. He's that kind of artist. Making himself a nice $30,000 for one night. Don't you think?
Well, I highly doubt he needs the money.
No, but still, he's not going to do it for free.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he wouldn't be touring because he needs the money.
No, but dude, it never hurts to make, you know, an extra $500,000 for 2 months' work or whatever.
No, why not?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd imagine what Chicago sold, like 200 million records.
Yeah, about that.
I'd imagine he's got it. He's okay. I don't think he's fucking going to be playing co-headlining with Jack Russell's Great White anytime soon.
Well, I've never, I knew a lot of these bands, but I never got to, you know, speak to any of these rock stars face to face.
Oh, that's good. Who have you met? Have you met Peter Cetera? Too silly.
Yeah. I did say hello to Pete one time.
Oh, you met him?
Oh yeah.
At a show, I'm assuming.
After
right?
a show, yeah.
Right.
Just very briefly, just hey, how are you? You know, that kind of thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But
and he said, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you're like, "Thanks."
It's like, "Hey, man." It's like, "Hey, what's up, Pete?" It's like, "Hey, man, good to see you." That's about it.
Pete, I'm hoping you're going to stay the night tonight because you are the inspiration.
Right, of course.
Seeing you guys live, it's a hard habit to break. Oof. And then you go and throw up because you referenced 3 of those songs off of that one bad album.
Yeah. Well, What did Chicago 17 sell? It was like 5 or 7 million copies.
Let me see.
Something like that.
18 didn't do dick, but 6.
6 million?
Yeah, it remains the biggest selling album in the band's history.
There you go. That's what I said.
Yeah, 6 million.
Yeah.
That's, wow, power of MTV.
That's it.
It's amazing. You know, it's really amazing to me that the music industry themselves didn't just band together and build another one. You know, when MTV started to go away and started doing their reality shows and shit, isn't it surprising that there never was another one to come along?
They should have. Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, it would still be, I honestly believe if somebody rose up today and launched an MTV, it would still be popular.
Well, I guess if it was a network channel, I would agree with you, or a cable channel.
Yeah.
But I think the one that really took over was Vivo.
Oh, yeah. Well, why couldn't Vivo? They make enough money. They should put it on TV.
Yeah, I agree. But you can, there is a Vivo app. So if you have a smart TV or a Roku or whatever, you can get the Vivo app and you can watch any video you want.
No, I get it. But, I mean, they could be selling commercials in between and making a fortune.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what Eric was trying to do with heavy metal television.
Well, if Eric could ever sync up the sound to the video, then he'd fucking have some on his hands. Dude, I try to watch heavy metal television all the time because he plays a lot of the shit that I like Arch Enemy and, you know, Slipknot and stuff like that, like the newer stuff and the heavier stuff. And I love all that stuff. But every time I watch it, the audio is like out of sync.
Of course.
It's like, dude, fucking get some more bandwidth going here. You're missing something here.
Right. And plus, it's a very niche thing that he's doing.
Well, and plus he doesn't have a fucking website for it, which has been my bitch forever. Because, you know, love Eric, but he would do 50 times as much business as he does now if he had a website where people would go and see a schedule and whatever, even if the schedule just says videos. You know, just if people could go to heavymetaltelevision.net and see, you know, don't forget 2 o'clock is the Mistress V or whatever. You know, he does have DJs, have a website, and then people can go to it and read about the history of it and then tune in.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is obviously artists still make music videos, but they launch them on like MTV or Vivo or you know, Daily Motion or wherever.
Sure.
And I would agree with you that if somebody had the wherewithal to have a, you know, a channel that played music videos, I think it would still be huge.
I think it would be monstrous. And I mean, it would be music that we wouldn't watch, but it would still be huge. I mean, all these bands, look, the bigger bands, they're still selling a lot of records, whether it's Lady Gaga or fucking Adele or whoever. They're moving a lot of product. Taylor Swift and all the rap guys. You know, it would do well. And if you had it playing, especially now with the way cable is just kind of accepting words like fuck and shit and stuff on it, where you wouldn't have to censor the music so much, dude, you're talking about a product that people would buy, and it would start selling music again. Different way, but people would still, they'd start hearing a song on, you know, whatever, Vivo TV, and they would download it from the app or whatever. You can build it into the app that you could download it on your fucking phone in video format or audio. And I mean, you could blast it up into making it a huge fucking business. And the record companies you could get to give you millions and millions of dollars to help them sell their fucking failing product. That's the big piece that's missing. I can't believe that the fucking industry itself doesn't try to do that. You know, it could only help them. But instead they'll waste it on stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, let's get these songs published in movies and in commercials. Because when people think about fucking Cadillacs, they think about Motorhead. Just the dumbest shit that they put their stamp behind. How many records do you think Motorhead has sold by being on Cadillac commercials?
Not any.
Yeah, one. I can't imagine that 3 Cadillacs have been sold solely because people heard Lemmy's music behind it. It's just ridiculous.
I agree.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of bands out there still making music videos. So if they had a channel out there that had some kind of a schedule,
yeah,
and they had a DJ that VJ that played, this guy's our heavy metal guy, or this guy's our pop guy, or this guy's our rap guy,
right?
And you had those videos scheduled at certain times of the day or whatever. I think you would have a captive audience.
Yeah, people would watch it just for the fact, dude. The problem with a Vivo or something where you're saying like, they have it on, that you can go to Vivo and see all these videos. That is true, but you still have to kind of know what you're looking for.
Yeah, you have to look for it. It's not presented to you.
Yeah, it's the reason that like SiriusXM still has subscribers. You could go anywhere and get just music playing. You could go to, even Spotify free. If you like whatever, rap or 80s rock or 70s soft pop or whatever, there's a channel out there on Spotify or on Google Play or whatever that's free and just churns the songs. But people will still spend money to go and do SiriusXM, and it's because they want to. They're still interested in, even if it's slightly personality-driven music stations. As dumb as, you've complained, me and you have complained over and over about SiriusXM and their DJs, but that's what separates their DJs and gets people spending $10, $20 a month, whatever it is for Sirius, over just using Google Play, is the fact that they hear a voice every 2 songs, 3 songs going, hey, that was Judas Priest. Coming up next, here's a band that's still out there touring. It's Metallica. Right?
Yeah, they want to be presented.
Yeah, they want to feel like they're talking to somebody or, engaged with somebody a little bit.
Yeah.
That's jukebox stuff never works. That's why, is there anything out there that just plays music and only plays music that has ever been successful?
No. Even tonight when I started the show, I played Arcade Song. Sounded kind of like Rat.
Yeah.
Kind of sounded like a little bit like LA Guns.
Yeah.
But I had fans in the chat room saying, who is this? What is this? I really dig this. This is a cool tune.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I announced it. It's like, yeah, that's Arcade. That comes from their first album, and this is blah, blah, blah. That's Stephen Pearcy with, I never heard that before. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's it. You need that little bit of personality to spice it up a little bit. And people, literally millions of people are paying for just that with SiriusXM. They really are. And it seems dumb to me and you, but, people do. It's crazy.
Well, again, it's being spoon-fed or presented, but that goes back to the whole discussion we've had on the show before, that what made the legacy artists that we still like today, how did we even know about them? Because they were presented on FM radio.
Right.
Oh, here's Judas Priest. Oh, Judas Priest. Oh, they got a new record out. Wow. I'm going to go to the record store and get that tomorrow.
Yeah. Exactly. And people need that still. That's why people don't buy it at all now. There's no reason to. It's just like, dude, it's fun. Even me, who's, I am, neck deep in the music business, and I'm finding myself more and more where I'm like, oh shit, I have Google Play is what I'm using these days, or YouTube Premium, which gives you Google Play. And I'm finding like I'm just not even paying attention. In the old days, I would have known without question the minute that the Metallica box set reissue was released. And I just happened to see other people posting pictures of theirs today where, that they went out to the store and bought it. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got to download that. And then I went out to Google Play to get it. So it's, and you forget now. You don't remember record releases, where record release day was a big deal. But it was a big deal because it was spoon-fed to us. We We were told for a month we'd be watching the Hooligans holiday video.
Right.
For a month and being told, yeah, March 18th is the date, friends, when that's going to be out. Mark your calendars. You know, and that's how it worked.
And you did.
And you did. And fucking, you know, Martha Quinn or J.J. Jackson fed you as much music as anybody did. You know, with their 2 seconds in between songs. But yeah, now when it's on play, just jukebox format, you don't know if the shit's out or not. You don't care. You know, it's a big part of the industry just lost track of their own business.
I agree.
But anyway.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up.
We're done, huh?
We're done. It's over. It's over now.
Yeah. Well, it was quick.
It was. It went fast.
It was quick, and I get an extra hour of sleep tonight. I like it.
Yeah, I forgot. You got to turn the clocks back right now if you're in Central Time anyway.
Who has clocks? Who has devices that don't do it automatically?
Well, I have a couple in the house. I got one on the microwave and one on the stove.
Oh, you're that guy. You set the microwave thing?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Do you set the coffee pot?
I do, because I expect it to be, making my coffee when I get up in the morning.
You're that guy that plans that far ahead, huh?
Well, I have to, because I have to schedule. I'm not like you, where I could get up if I want to or don't get up if I don't want to.
Dude, not only am I the worst with that, but I bought a brand new coffee maker earlier this year that gives me like extra time to keep it warm. Like it does 4 hours instead of the normal 2.
Right.
And I bought it with the whole thing where you can schedule like different times for different days of the week. I mean, it's like this elaborate thing.
Yeah, it's like a thermostat in your house.
Yeah. I have not set the clock even once on this stupid thing.
Yeah, well, see, I do use mine because I do make the coffee the night before. Right. And when I wake up at 6, it's already done. So I just get out of bed and get my coffee.
Right. And even if the alarm doesn't go off, the smell of the coffee is like, it must be time to get up.
That's it. So, yes, I do set my clocks.
Nice. I never do.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing obviously, the only thing I don't set is my iPhone. That's it. Or my computers.
Or your computers.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's everything that I have is now digital.
Yeah. See, my computers, I'm looking at it right now, and it says 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Even though it's 2.
Mm-hmm. I guarantee you when I go in there in the bedroom here in 5 minutes, I'm going to look at my Google Home Hub, and it's going to say it is 2:02 or whatever time it is.
There you go.
Love technology.
Yeah.
Says I love it. Between this and the sex robots, it's fucking playing into my fucking hands.
It's getting right into your realm.
Got that right.
Right. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next Saturday night. We'll do this thing all over again. I'm going to leave you with some Rough Cut tonight.
All right.
I see that Paul Shortino and Carlos Cavazzo are hooking up to do some Rough Riot shows.
Yeah, Sean McNabb's in that, too.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave you with some Rough Cut. This one comes from their debut release, and this one is Dress to Kill.
Cool.
So until next Saturday night, this is Neeley along with my very good friend
Chris Aiken.
And we are gone.
My kids.
Hey, what do you say? It's Paul Shortino from Rough Cut. You're listening to the Classic Metal Show. Keep rocking.